What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Sergeant Moose here, back with another The Texas Chainsaw Massacre video. And in today's video, guys, I want to talk about a topic of discussion that's been going on. I've been seeing online a lot of Leatherface players using either the damage build or the scout speed build. That's right, guys. So there seems to be like two meta Leatherface builds right now in the game that a lot of folks are using. And it's been a discussion on which one is better, which one's more suitable for your playstyle. So without further ado, let's jump in. Let's dissect these builds and kind of talk about them a little bit. Alright guys, so first things first, as you guys can see here on my screen, we do not have the scout build. We are running the damage build, so I'm not going to like go through the skill tree and create the scout build again for you guys, but I will go through and show you how to get it. But we are running the damage build. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to say which build is better. I don't think either of them are better. I think they're both very, very situational, and you can't really go wrong with using either build. Now, the only difference between these builds, the main difference between these builds, as you guys can see on my screen right now, we have big swings. This is the big butt of the damage that Leatherface is going to do with the damage build. Of course, at level 3, we're assuming all the perks that we have are level 3 first and foremost. But it does do a 15% damage, extra damage, flat damage. It does 15%. It says stamina is 200% more costly, but as we know, Leatherface does not use stamina whenever he's using his attacks, unlike all of the other family members. So, he's taking no downside to big swings. He's only getting that 15% increase in damage. Now, the only difference between this and the speed build, if we come over here to the skill tree, obviously to get big swings, we come off to the left-hand side. Big swings is over here. To get scout, you're going to go off to the right-hand side of the screen, and scout is over here. So that's really the only difference between these two builds. If you go to the right, you're going to get scout. Of course, you're going to go all the way up. And if we come back to our Leatherface build, the other perks that we have, hysterical strength and activated, they are both random perks, and you can get them from either side of the tree. So if you decide you don't want to use big swings, you want to run scout, you can still roll for these perks for your random perks. Now, if we go in to the rest of our perks as well, because the third perk you see here, activated, this is kind of a situational perk as well. You do not have to run this, but if you do roll on either side, you will get a chance to get 3 really, really good perks, random perks, I should say, and that is activated. It's going to be hysterical strength, and it's going to be violent, which is right here. So we have violent activated, and we also can get hysterical strength. We have hysterical strength in our loadout. Now, I will say, guys, in both of these builds, the speed or the damage build, if you have big swings or scout, I will say you probably should go hysterical strength for both builds. And we're going to talk about why hysterical strength is so important on Leatherface as opposed to any other character in the game. As you guys can see at level 3, when below 15% stamina, you deal 20% more damage. Now, the interesting thing about Leatherface, and I actually know a few folks still don't know this, I was mentioning it to them, but whenever you run out of stamina with Leatherface, if you are in your overhead animation, you know, when you're revving your chainsaw and he has it over his head and he's running super fast, even if you run out of stamina while you're doing that, you will not slow down. You can run in that animation infinitely, even if your stamina runs out. This is where hysterical strength is really important, because you don't have to watch your stamina with Leatherface. So if you are in that overhead, you get below 15% stamina, you're running around, you're out of stamina, you're always going to have hysterical strength procced. This is why I think this is the absolute most essential perk that should be on any Leatherface build. This is my personal opinion. So we're going to come on down here. We look at our attributes. We're obviously going to take savagery all the way up. We want Leatherface as powerful as humanly possible. Some folks would argue that the big swings build on Leatherface is overkill, too much damage, but in this game, especially when you have Annas and you have victims getting smarter with their toughness builds, nothing is too overpowered in this game. Even this build here, which is the absolute strongest build in the game, will still not kill Anna right away. So keep that in mind. So we're going to come down here, guys, put all the rest of our points into blood harvesting. This gives us, I believe, 113 total blood that we can get in our vial. And of course, down here for endurance, We want as little as endurance as possible with Leatherface because we always want to be low on stamina for hysterical strength to be proc. So if you're going in endurance here, it's going to take you longer to run out of stamina, which means that hysterical strength will not be procced as long. So we don't want to do anything with endurance. You want to leave that alone. That way we're running out of stamina faster. Now, again, I just want to say, guys, the only difference between this build and the speed build is swapping out big swings for scout, which is on the other side of the tree. Now, if we come over here, activated is situational. I probably like activated a little bit better than violent, just because with violent, it does kind of rely you to the only way to really proc it is if you get a kill with Leatherface, which I know it's not hard to do, but you're not really going around collecting blood with Leatherface, so you're not really going to be able to proc it yourself without killing anybody. You're going to have to get that initial kill to make yourself stronger to kill more people after that. With activated, that's not really the case. Basically, all you have to do is just get stunned, either by a door, by Leland's barge, or, a dagger to the back, a bone scrap to the back, and activated will automatically be procced. For 40 seconds, you gain an extra 20% damage. So it's kind of either or on this. It's kind of situational, depending on what you think the victims are going to do in a match. If you think they're going to be kind of toxic and trying to, slam you with doors constantly, activated's probably your best bet. Also coming down here, guys, this is kind of one of my little hidden perks that I like to use on Leatherface. I like to swap out. I like to especially use this on gas station. I've had a ton of success with it because they are locking a lot of doors on gas station all the time in the basement, and you can instantly burst through the doors, catch them off guard, and even try to kill them. So Master Key is also a one to keep in mind. But other than that, this is pretty much the build for both. And again, like I said, I'm not going to go and respec the skill tree because we do kind of have a god roll skill tree here with all three really good random perks, which is hysterical strength, activated, and violent. So I'm not going to respec to show the scout build just because I don't want to lose that god roll. But again, if you come off to the right-hand side, the only thing that's different is if you choose scout. Of course, you're going to want to have this at level 3 as well. We have it at level 3. You're going to take a 10% reduced melee damage. Keep that in mind, guys. 10% reduced melee damage, which is, believe it or not, absolutely huge on Leatherface, and it does show. But you're going to get 15% more speed. So let's talk about both of these builds a little bit. So with the damage build, I think where it comes in handy is them moments where you're really trying to, you're taking on a victim team that has a ton of toughness. They are not moving around super fast, but they're doing objectives in close quarters. I especially like this build in, say, Family House or Gas Station even, because you don't have to be as fast, but it's going to do a ton of damage. And keep in mind, guys, that whether or not you have the Scout build on Leatherface, he is still by far the fastest family member when he's in his overhead animation anyway. But this is going to come in handy. This is going to get you out of a lot of jams whenever you need them quick kills. You're not trying to, knock them down with an overhead and get multiple follow-ups and still not kill them. This build will kill. Most of the time, it is a one-shot build. And what I mean by one-shot is typically it will knock them down. You can hit them with a follow-up. And sometimes if they already are just a tad bit hurt, you're going to hit them and kill them in the first shot. Now, this is where Scout comes into play. Scout does give you a 15% damage boost, which is absolutely noticeable. Leatherface is unbelievably fast with Scout. It comes in handy in them instances where you're in, say, Family House and someone turns off the generator, they're running up the road. You're going to have a much better chance at catching them with Scout than with this build. So keep that in mind. Again, very situational. But here's the thing about Scout. Because you are losing big swings, that means you're losing 15% of that extra damage. And if you are using Scout, you're also losing another 10% damage just for having Scout. So, you are losing a total of 25% damage by having Scout instead of big swings. And that's pretty big. That is pretty damn noticeable. So, which means, in an instance, if I'm using Scout and I overhead somebody with Scout, chances are it's going to take me at least 2 more follow-up swings to actually kill them. And sometimes that does not even work. With big swings, even if they're a pretty tough victim, an overhead plus usually one follow-up will most of the time kill them. So keep that in mind. But again, there may be instances where you can't catch them if they're far away from you running out an exit, where you're going to wish, man, I had Scout so I could have had a chance. But even if you had Scout, maybe you would have hit them and knocked them down, but not been able to kill them because you're losing that 25% damage. So that's where everything is kind of situational, guys. You kind of pick and choose which build you want. I highly recommend running with both of these builds to try them both, because a lot of folks out there will tell you Scout is the only way to go on Leatherface. It is by far the best. I can 100% attest, guys, that is not the truth. Both builds are really, really solid. I've been using this build since the very beginning of this game. About 2 months into the game, about a month and a half into the game, I had a lot of folks telling me about Scout. Try Scout. I'm telling you, it's good. So I did try it. We maxed everything out with Scout. We had a lot of success with it, a lot of fun, but I did notice a big difference. And one thing I missed was whenever I would overhead somebody in the basement, I would catch them off guard. You know, the first couple seconds of the match, I see a Connie or I see somebody else, you know, I knock them down and I hit them with a follow-up swing. It doesn't kill them. And I was not used to that. I was absolutely not used to that, because this build here will absolutely do that 99% of the time. Considering if they have no cell, you know, or a max toughness build, or if it's on, that's probably going to be the only way you're not going to kill them with a one shot, but no build in the game is going to do that. So keep that in mind, guys. This is my opinion on both builds, but I will say, out of both, this is absolutely my favorite Leatherface build. It has been from the start, and I've been sticking to my guns with it. We've probably gotten 2,000 kills with this build alone on Leatherface. Well, maybe 1,500, maybe another, you know, 1,000 with the Scout build, something like that. But we definitely got more with this build, and it is an absolute machine, a killing machine build. And another reason why I run this too, guys, is because if you look at my other characters, we've talked about this before. Scout is probably the most meta family perk in the game. And on my other characters, I'm kind of testing something with Cook a little bit with these two. I took security pins off, but we're running Scout on him, Hitchhiker, Scout, Johnny, Scout, and wait, where's she at? Sissy, Scout. So I wanted to try to find a way to not have to run Scout on every single character, because there's so many, I see so many family members that absolutely rely on Scout for every single character. But not going to make this video too much longer, guys. These are both of the builds, the Scout build, the speed build, and the damage build. My opinions on both, again, guys, very situational. There may be a time where you're running one of these builds and something happens to where a victim gets out and you're like, damn, I wish I had that other build, and maybe I could have killed him. So it can kind of go either way. But I've been having a lot more fun with this one. Let me know. I'm really interested to see in the comments, guys, which builds for Leatherface that you guys like. I'm actually thinking about even running a poll for it, because these are pretty much the only two builds that most people use. If you guys have any other crazy Leatherface builds too, let me know, because honestly, I don't think either of these are absolutely needed. I think you could probably have success maybe even running something without big swings and Scout. So let me know your opinions down below, guys. If you have any new builds that maybe I haven't tried with Leatherface, please let me know, because again, this game's still kind of new. We're all still experimenting with it. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My name's Sergeant Moose. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you guys did, feel free to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.